Imagine you finally got your first $100 available to invest. What do you buy? One person says buy the S&P 500, another says individual stocks, somebody else is screaming about crypto, and another person tells you you're already too late. But if I'm investing for the first time, what should I buy isn't actually my first question. My first question is, am I financially ready to invest this money in the first place? So before I invested my first dollar, I'd run through 7 checks. If these 7 lights are green, then I can start investing with a much stronger foundation. And I'm not saying your financial life has to be perfect. If I waited until every possible money problem disappeared, I might never invest. I just want the foundation strong enough that one normal problem doesn't destroy the plan. Green light number 1. Can my monthly cash flow actually support investing? If I'm investing $200 every month but falling $300 behind on my bills, I haven't built an investment plan. I've built a cash flow problem. Before adding a new investment commitment, I want essential expenses and required payments under control. Housing, utilities, food, transportation, insurance, minimum payments. Then I want positive margin, money that genuinely survives after the important stuff is handled. Here's my test. Could I automate this investment every month without needing the money back 2 weeks later? If yes, green light 1 turns on. Green light 2. Before investing money for the long term, I'd want some accessible emergency cash because the market doesn't care that my transmission failed, my medical bill arrived, or my work hours suddenly got cut. If every available dollar is invested and I suddenly need cash, I may be forced to sell an investment at a terrible time or reach for expensive debt. The job of emergency savings isn't growth. Its job is financial protection and accessibility. The amount I'd want depends on my income stability, expenses, dependents, and risks. I'm not pretending $1 amount works for everyone. Once I have appropriate protection for where I am financially, green light 2 turns on. Green light 3. I want to know exactly what debt I'm carrying and what it's costing me. If I'm carrying extremely expensive credit card debt, investing doesn't make that cost disappear, and I wouldn't justify expensive debt by saying, it's okay because maybe my investments will make more. Investment returns aren't guaranteed. The card's interest charge is very real. There is one thing I'd check before blindly sending every spare dollar to debt, whether my workplace offers a valuable retirement match. Some employers contribute additional money when employees contribute to the workplace retirement plan. But the formula, eligibility, and vesting rules depend on the actual plan. So I'm not asking, do I have any debt? I'm asking, what debt do I have, what does it cost, and what benefits would I give up by ignoring my workplace plan? Once I understand that trade-off, green light 3 turns on. Notice something. We're 3 checks into the video, and I still haven't bought a single investment. That's intentional, because now that the financial foundation is stronger, we need to answer a completely different question. What is this money actually for? Green light 4. Before deciding what to invest in, I decide what I'm investing for. Money I need 5 months from now should not automatically be treated the same way as money I won't need for 30 years. That's called my time horizon. How long I expect the money to stay invested before I need it for the goal. If I know I need the money soon, protecting that money may matter more than trying to maximize long-term growth. If the money is truly for decades from now, I can evaluate a different level of market risk because I have more time. So before asking ETF or stock, I ask, what job does this money have? Once the purpose and timeline are clear, green light 5 turns on. Green light 6 is something beginners often mix up. The account and the investment are not the same thing. Think of the account as the container and the investments as what I put inside the container. If I'm investing for retirement, a workplace retirement plan may be one option available to me. Depending on my situation and eligibility, other tax-advantaged accounts may also exist for goals like retirement, healthcare, or education. And a regular taxable brokerage account has different rules and trade-offs again. I don't want to spend hours picking an investment and only afterwards ask whether I put it in an account that makes sense for the goal. I'd understand the account's tax treatment, contribution rules, withdrawal restrictions, fees, and any employer benefits before committing.
Once I know where the investment belongs, green light 5 turns on. Now, finally, we can ask the question everybody wanted to start with. What am I actually going to own? My first rule is simple. If I can't explain in basic language what I'm buying and how it makes or loses money, I don't need to own it yet. Next, I don't want my entire financial future depending on one company, one sector, or one exciting idea. Diversification means spreading money across investments instead of concentrating everything in one place. I also need to be realistic about risk. Not the amount of risk I think I can handle while everything is going up, the amount I can live with when prices fall. If a normal market decline would make me panic, sell everything, and swear off investing forever, my plan may be too aggressive for my actual behavior. And I want to know what I'm paying. A fee that looks tiny as a percentage can matter over decades. Investor.gov gives an example where $100,000 growing at 4% annually for 20 years ends around $208,000 with a 0.25% annual fee, but around $179,000 with a 1% annual fee. That's an illustration, not a forecast. That doesn't mean the lowest fee automatically makes every investment the right investment. It means fees belong in the decision. Once I understand what I own, why I own it, how diversified it is, the risk I'm accepting, and what it costs, green light 6 turns on. At this point, the finances can be ready, the account can be ready, the portfolio can be ready, and I can still ruin the whole thing, because green light 7 isn't about money, it's about what I do after the money is invested. Green light 7. I want a repeatable investing system, not a constant stream of emotional decisions. I don't want every paycheck to trigger the same argument. Is today the perfect day? Should I wait until next week? What if the market falls tomorrow? If regular investing fits my plan, I'd rather establish an amount I can sustain and automate the process. I'd also make a rule. I don't buy something simply because it's trending. If the only reason I want an investment is because everybody online seems to be getting rich from it, that's not research, that's FOMO. And once real money is in the account, I'd treat account security seriously too. Before the first dollar goes in, I'd write down what I'm investing for, how much I'm contributing, what I'm buying, and what would actually justify changing the plan. Now green light 7 turns on. And for the first time in this video, I'm ready to invest. Let's put all 7 checks into a realistic example. Jordan is 27 and wants to start investing. He takes home $4,000 a month, has $3,000 saved, no high-interest credit card balance, and usually has about $500 left after his planned expenses. His cash flow is positive. He's decided his current emergency cushion is appropriate for his situation. He doesn't have expensive revolving debt, and he's checked the retirement benefits available through work. This money is for retirement decades away, not next year's vacation. He's chosen an account that fits that retirement goal and understands the basic rules. He's chosen a diversified approach he understands, knows the major risks, and has checked the fees. And instead of trying to predict the perfect day, he sets a sustainable recurring contribution. Now the first investment isn't a random bet, it's the next move in a financial system. So before I invested my first dollar, I'd want 7 green lights. 1. Positive cash flow. 2. Appropriate emergency protection. 3. Understand my debt and check any valuable employer retirement benefits. 4. Know the goal and time horizon. 5. Choose an account that makes sense for that goal. 6. Understand the portfolio, diversification, risk, and fees. 7. Build a system I can actually follow. Investing shouldn't be an escape hatch from a broken financial system. It should be the next layer of a strong one. But what if you want to invest and every month you swear there's simply no money left? Sometimes the problem isn't that absolutely no money comes in, it's where the money goes before you ever get a chance to use it intentionally. So next we're going to follow a paycheck from the moment it arrives and find the places quietly keeping people financially stuck. Because you might not be as broke as your bank account makes you feel. If you're building your financial comeback, subscribe to Marcus Money Moves. We're going from financially behind to the first 100K, one money move at a time.